Hello everyone, welcome back to the kitchen table. Today on the kitchen table we are continuing our in-depth first look at the Yuneec Typhoon H. A word of warning, I think there might be some of you who are confused by the concept of what in-depth means. It means that this video will be a lot longer than 2 minutes and we'll be going quite deeply into the things. So if that's not your scene, then you better stop watching now. Okay, so the three of you that are left, we're going to go into, you remember I'm trying to do it in stages. The video that yesterday was the literal sort of first unboxing, first impressions, looking at the fit and the quality of the plastics and what you get in the kit for your money, etc, etc. Today, because it's showers outside and not great, which was forecast, so this was the plan, we're going to look in much more depth at the ST16, this beast, which has got a lot of people quite interested and a few people quite excited about what its capabilities are. I've had a lot of questions about, is it really an Android tablet? Can you use it as a standalone device? What kind of expansions does it have? What about bits and pieces? What's the UI like? What's it like to, is the touchscreen any good? All these kind of things we're going to have a look at now on the table. So I'm going to fire up the aircraft and we'll power up the ST16 and we'll do a sort of locked off shot of the screen. And we'll walk you through some of the features and what we can expect. So the first thing that people have asked for is a bit of a look round at what all the various bits and pieces do, look at the inputs and so on. So we'll do that. First thing first, people have speculated about these kind of PlayStation style doodads here. They are trim controls which currently aren't used here. What they've obviously done is taken their slightly more expensive and more featured model, the ST24, which I believe does use these to trim out very accurately, and they've done away with it. So there's no trim function, and as far as I can tell, they don't do anything else. So you can't use them for playing your favorite game on. Obviously, we've got your standard sticks, which you can change the mode to, whatever you're used to. A walk around the front. This is the tilt mode. There's angle mode or velocity mode. So there's a tilt wheel at the back. And what this means is if it's in velocity mode, if the slider is in the center, that means the gimbal doesn't move. If you move it up, the gimbal moves up from its current position. You move it down, the gimbal moves down. But it's the velocity, the amount you move the slider away from center dictates the speed of the tilt. So if you want a really slow top to bottom tilt, you can just move it a tiny bit down and leave it like that. And that's in velocity mode. In angle mode, the slider here mirrors the position of the gimbal. So you would do it manually, or it would follow that, and you can switch between the two. You've next got the pan mode, which again has you've got a similar concept for the panning mode and the pan control on a separate wheel here with a little clicky detent in the middle, so you know when you're at center. This button here takes a picture. This button here starts the video recording, and on this side we've got an auxiliary button, which I don't know what it does, we'll find out. You've got your obstacle avoidance off and on. Up here is the gear up and down, everyone's favorite, and this is the flight mode, so changing from smart mode to pilot, what they call pilot mode or standard mode, and then you've got the return to home down there. On-off switch here and video here. Obviously the two antennae, and this is the main power switch for starting and stopping the motors. Press and hold for 3 seconds to start, press and hold for 2 to stop. On the top there we've got HDMI out, the natty carry handle at the back. These are two cooling fans. There is a bit of noise as it whirs around and cools. This is where the battery pack lives. Again, that's kind of stays in there and recharges through USB or a separate adapter at the back. Or you can obviously buy an additional pack if you want to and have sort of hot swap them if you're going out all day. There is also an SD card slot under there as well. There's the tilt slider, and this is your kind of, it's tortoise and hare. So it's the I guess the aggressiveness of the response of the aircraft. So in tortoise mode it's slower and more sedate, and then all the way up to hare gives you the full kind of performance that you would want. And that's it. As I said before, it's a reasonable weight. In fact, if you want to pause for a second, I will go and weigh it. Okay, I've just weighed it. It's 1,200 grams, give or take a gram or two. So you can obviously translate that into your currency of choice. So what we're going to do now is switch it on and have a look at the basic UI. So I'll power this on. I don't know if you can hear the fans there in the background whirring away. While we wait, I'm going to have a sip of my coffee at the kitchen table. I did forget to say that at the beginning, but it's the Monsoon Malabar. You know the score by now. So this is indicative of how long you will have to wait when you're setting up. I suggest, as with most things, you switch your transmitter on when you get there. And there we go. Welcome, pilot. So this is the main screen UI, which you will not be able to see. Let me turn down these lights. There we go. That's better with the lights. So here's the display, and it looks quite busy, but you know there's a very easy way to sort that out. What I'm going to do is just boot up the aircraft, and then you can see how long it takes before the aircraft gets ready to connect and everything else. So let's do that now. Ooh, that's a different noise, isn't it? Okay, it's just starting to come alive now. Reconnecting to camera, please wait, it says up here. The aircraft's still booting. Okay, so the aircraft's now searching for GPS. I can see it's indoors, so it's not going to get one obviously. And the camera's going through its boot up sequence. Okay, flashing green light, which means it's initialized Wi-Fi, and a beep, so we should start the connection process soon. We've got telemetry data, so we've got volts on the aircraft and height and no speed. Solid green on the camera. This picture should be coming through any second now. There we go. There is the picture, and let's just there we go. And we're obviously on angle mode, so let's leave it onto that. There we go. So that's the display. As I said, there's a way to declutter is double tap, and then you just get a full 720p widescreen shot. I just wiggle my fingers there. Hello. People wanted to know about lag. Obviously, it's a bit of a strange test because it's literally next to me. But in terms of lag on the display, see if you can hear my click and see it. Ready? Oh. I'd say that's about 1/10 of a second, but I don't know yet, and we'll see. Well, that's like double tap again. So this is the layout. Down here you've got telemetry, volts, GPS, acquiring, it says satellites, your position, and it gives you looks like it gives you coordinates, yeah, altitude, ground speed, and distance away from the pilot. Down here you've got your camera settings. Obviously it's auto white balance. White balance is there, and then you've got your auto or manual mode, so exposure you can change, or if you go fully manual you can do ISO and shutter speed as well, which is pretty cool. And then you've got on the bottom here, pad, which will turn it into a tablet, system settings, obviously, channel settings, and the model select, so if you're using this to fly multiple aircraft or multiple cameras. And then down the side, ready for flight, obstacle avoidance is disabled, GPS calibration, follow me modes and everything else are not available because this and that aren't getting a GPS reception. And then task view or camera view. At the moment this is camera view. If I switch, we lose the camera settings and we get to choose cable cam, journey mode, point of interest, orbit, and the auto takeoff. Press that button, it will power up, lift up to about 3 or 4 feet and hover and wait for you to go on. People have asked a lot about these different modes. Obviously I need to fly them properly, but what was a nice touch I noticed, that if I go into curved cable cam, it gives you a nice on-screen walkthrough of what to do. This allows you to create an invisible route for the Typhoon to fly along. Once the pilot sets the waypoint, the aircraft will fly the set coordinates. Remember the heading and the camera position. To begin, adjust the camera angle, add your waypoints, tap start, fly to waypoint 1 automatically. Camera position can always be adjusted. And I like this, this is nice. So what you do is set up your automatic route, and then it shows you this stick forwards and backwards will move you along or back along the cable route that you've selected, and while you're doing that, this gives you, oh, see, it's not ready yet, but this will give you full gimbal control like the Pro rigs do, which is fantastic. So we'll skip out of that because obviously we're not going to set it up. Journey is the same. It's this kind of selfie mode. You tell it where you are, it will automatically adjust the angle as it goes out to keep you in shot, etc, etc. Everything's talked through for you. Point of interest, you get again how you do it, what the controls do. It's very nicely and simply done. And orbit mode again, how to set up an orbit and so on and so forth. So that's all cool. System settings, it warns you that you're going out. This is where you bind in different cameras. So if you buy another camera module, you bind it to that. If you have another aircraft, you can sort of set up the bindings. Other settings, measurements, imperial, you'll be pleased to hear, or metric. Language, select and advanced mode on off. Don't know about that. Hardware monitor is pretty good. Here you can see, I don't know if you can see that one as I dial, but as you move controls, you can see exactly what all the functions and switches are doing, and check that they're all okay. Mode select, again, lets you choose the control mode. Most people fly mode 2. A fair few people still fly mode 1. You can do that from here. Which camera? The Seago 3, which is the one that came with the Typhoon Q500 or the Pro. And then it tells you about the controller firmware updates and you can do updates on those, which we'll walk through when I found out all about those. And then we're back again. Channel settings. Now this is where it gets very, very, very interesting. So you can pick an input. So joystick 1, for example, which is the throttle, as you can see, that's the output monitor. Joystick 1, if we edit it, we have full expo, rate control. I mean, you can really set everything up to be absolutely as you like it. If you can reverse them, change the speed, take some already pre-programmed expo curves or put your own on. You can really go to town on absolutely personalizing the way this flies if you are that way inclined. And I've just realised all this time that I haven't had my lapel mic on, and I can't be bothered to start again because I'm not professional. So I'm going to do that, and suddenly the sound will probably be better. Apologies. It was unplugged. So that is really, really in depth, and you can do it for. I'm not even going to attempt to play around with that in case I balls it up. But I tell you what, for those of you who want the in depth, that's really quite impressive. So yeah, people have asked about is it possible to use it as a full-featured tablet? Well, let's have a look. Pretty much, yes is the answer. I haven't downloaded anything. It's not Google certified, so you don't get the App Store, Google Play, but you could easily put on the Amazon App Store or any of the other third-party stores. But pretty much things like Google Maps. There we are. Google Maps is up and can work. Obviously, at the moment, my Wi-Fi is connected to the camera. I'm not going to get any data apart from what's been cached already, which is where I am. So that's fine. The music player is there. The clock, calendar. Effectively, if you have it connected to your home Wi-Fi, you can use it as a fully featured tablet. There is a web browser, the calculator, the photo gallery. You can Movie Studio for some editing as well if you want to, and of course you can download things like vPlayer or your favorite kind of player and play your own play the videos that you recorded by taking the SD card out there and sticking it into here, which is great. Pressing the home key on the bottom, these are hardware, they're not software keys. This is actually built in. You've got minus and plus, which will lower volume for the alerts and things like that, and then you've got options and home and return. So the back button will take you out of the menus, and the home button will always get you back to this kind of bespoke feature. If we go into settings here, now we've got the camera settings. So here's where we can change all the video settings. At the moment it's up at 496 by 2160 and 25 frames. We can go down to here for the slow-mo freaks. We've got 1080p in 120 frames per second, which is nice. Loads of options. You've got 24, 25 and 30 frames. You've got a 48, a 50, 60, 120. So the highest frame rate at 4K is 25 or 24 for you cinema fans. Audio switch, just I guess switches off the whether you're recording audio into your videos. Photo mode is currently JPEG. The image style is gorgeous. You can obviously change it from natural, raw, night mode, which is interesting. Single or team is whether you're operating with one controller or two, and you can use the wizard that came with it as a control device and use this purely as a camera rig, which is cool. Reset the camera and the video switch. So yeah, it's all there. One of the things that other people have asked is, can you change the 400 foot limit? And I don't know is the answer to that. Advanced mode, I don't know what that is. I'm gonna have a read up on that. That may be the thing that takes you out of the beginner mode that locks you to a 400 foot and also a maximum radius. But I don't know. It's something we'll have to delve into. But I just know that people wanted to have a look. The screen is pretty bright. I've set the brightness. You can go into the tablet and set the brightness settings. I've set it up to the brightest, just so it will show up on the video a bit better for you. But obviously, with the sunshade that comes with it as well. One of the things we can test is how good that is when we go out flying tomorrow. But there we go. So far, I like this interface. I especially like the fact that I can just declutter it instantly. And if you want to frame that good shot and check what you're doing, it's all there. Quick double tap and you're back with absolutely seeing everything. I'm going to obviously drill down into some of the more settings and get some of those questions up. What I might do is come back to this video and add a bit on the end in a minute, finding out about other parts of the settings in there. But there we go. That was it for now. Right. If in doubt, read the manual. So I've just read some of the manual and a couple of points that I missed off. These different flight modes, when you're in when you're in smart mode, you can also do things like follow me and watch me, where the camera will stay fixed on you and it's linked to the GPS in here. So it's actually using the GPS coordinates of this to keep the right, to know the angle and everything else. So that's good. But when you put it into angle mode or pilot mode, then it releases some of those restrictions. What you can do though, and it says this in the manual, you can remove the restrictions by using the USB, a USB connection under programming software. I'm assuming that when there'll be some software you can download from Unique, which you can plug this into, which is what you'll have to do to override. But it looks like you can, if it's legal in your territory to fly further than 400 feet, or if you want to remove this sort of geofence that stops you flying a certain distance away in the smart mode, for example, there'll be a bit of software that you can plug this into that will actually allow you to take those off after, I suspect, accepting a load of disclaimers. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed that initial look at the ST16 and the interface. So far I think it's pretty good. Without really delving into the manual, it seems fairly self-explanatory. Obviously, when we go out to fly it, that's when we get to play with some of the modes, and some of the functions won't be available until we've got rotors spinning and we're up in the air. But initial thoughts are, nice screen, love that panoramic, get rid of all the clutter, see what's going on view. Really going to enjoy messing around with things like the different pan modes on the gimbal and all that kind of stuff. I think this is going to be a nice experience. The touchscreen is responsive. It's Intel inside, and it feels like it. There's no this isn't a cheap. I was a bit worried they put a cheap resistive touchscreen or something in it. This is actually quite a smart bit of kit, and a fully functioning Android 4.0.3 kind of build in there. Loads to play with. The ability to customize every control with its own expo curves to within an inch of its life, and you can even do it on the rotary knobs and the switches if you want to. If you're that granular about your flying, wow, you're going to be able to actually set this to be very, very bespoke to you and your flying. So there we go. Fingers crossed for tomorrow. The showers hopefully will blow away. The forecast is that. I'm going to go out and we're going to do the first flight that I've done on this consumer model, and I'm going to record it kind of as live with a voiceover of my impressions and record the flight onto the camera so that, you know, what I see is going to be what you'll be seeing, and you'll be hearing my thoughts. And we'll do some initial kind of how does it climb, how does it feel to handle, how does it handle a bit of wind, because it's going to be slightly windy tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully that'll be up in a day or two, but until then, thanks very much for all your support. I appreciate it, and I'll see you again soon back on the kitchen table. Until then, cheers!